We're live, pal. 2, 1. No, now we're live, pal. G.I. Joe! Gotta love being live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I'm Athletic Geek, joined once again by Jedi Jason Kruger, and it was kind of a up and down week in the world of pro wrestling, but
I'm excited about the Royal Rumble.
Yes, that's coming, and well, that means on next week's edition of the show, it's predictions. So
it's coming up.
So that'll be fun. But if you've never seen this show before, this is the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. Jedi and I have been watching wrestling together for damn near 15 years at this point, give or take. I'm not exactly a math whiz, but
numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for me knowing accuracy on how long we've been watching wrestling together. But anywhoozles, we love talking about wrestling. We love sharing our love of professional wrestling with you, the fans, but yeah, that's the playlist. But we're not actually in the business. Our opinions carry no more weight than any of you guys watching the show, because at the end of the day, we're not experts, we're not insiders, we're just two marks.
We're not even reporters.
We just, we try not to even use insider terms because we haven't really earned the right to do something like that yet. But
although we might slip up because we've done it for years.
Yes. So we'll just go on to let's go to Raw here, if I can pull up a good recap of Raw. I'm completely failing at what we're supposed to do.
It's all good. NXT UK had their first takeover.
Yeah, it was a good show.
I didn't get to see it, but I heard.
I saw bits and pieces. Yeah. I mean, I'm a bad fan.
We're all bad fans. None of us watch 205 Live.
Yeah. Well, the big thing that Raw started off with was Braun Strowman destroying Vince McMahon's limousine.
Oh, yeah.
And, he did that. And then he got fined, and he got suspended. Not gonna be facing Lesnar at the thing anymore. Rumble.
Worked for me. I didn't care. Sad to say.
Yeah.
But.
Oh.
Sad to say.
No. So.
Hello. Join us.
Oh, no, we can't say that.
Oh. Us, you should join.
Yoda style.
Ah.
But anyways, it's just, I get the feeling that, I still like Strowman. They've kind of cooled him off way too much for my tastes. But I have a gut feeling that he's only being taken out of this match so he can, well, we'll save that for next week. But
fair enough.
That's what I think.
See,
Yeah. We'll make that official next week. But yeah, we have this.
So essentially, there was
just a very bad segment, and I'm disappointed to say that, because as much as a year ago at this time I was saying, hey, Strowman needs to be the champion. Mm-hmm. He needs to be a better top hero than Roman Reigns. Here he's been in two big segments these last 2 weeks, and
well, at least this one wasn't on him as much.
No, but it's still just not a good look.
No, it's not.
And it's just not.
He needs Nicholas.
Yes, he needs Nicholas.
I don't know about you, but I would be mildly amused if said Nicholas come back and give him a pep talk.
Yeah.
And get him all fired up.
Oh,
he goes out there and kills someone.
I'd be for that. I'd be down for return of Nicholas. Hell yeah. But
so it left a hole. There was suddenly nobody facing Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, and we have a women's tag match where we have Ronda Rousey and Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax in the answer the question no one asks, Tamina Snuka. And this was just not the best. Sasha tried her best to get something out of all of it, but it just didn't work out so well. I'm still bitter at Nia for being a little reckless with the man. So, yeah, just not really the best look. So, not really a great match either. It's just kind of there, and
I am looking forward to Banks and Rousey Sunday, though. Like, you could say they've done so little with Sasha, people probably forgotten who she is, but I remember enough to know that if they're allowed to go out there and have time and do it, it should be great.
I don't dislike Sasha's wrestling ability whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I'm just not really
into her character.
It's not so much that it's not. How do I put this with Sasha? And I might have said this on a past episode. I already put. She just, everybody loved her so much. I'm just kind of like, okay, she's great in the ring and her character's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but everybody just kind of was all like the boss, the legit boss, the boss.
I'm still of the opinion she'd be more entertaining if she was a villain.
And like, okay.
Just proved my point right there.
Yeah.
She'd be more entertaining if she was a villain.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, okay. Like, yes, I would prefer her as a villainess. But I'm just like, kind of like, okay, she's, you know, and then there's like people honestly like would have, you know, and you can have totally your own opinion, I don't care. But there's people that think that she needs to be fighting Rousey instead of the man. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, that's why she's in the Royal Rumble slot.
But you get what I'm saying, like it's just one of those things, like, you know, no, we need to see Ron. Like, no, we don't. No. You know, there's certain.
I mean, you're seeing it now.
You know, women just as much as the men. There are certain women that should not main event WrestleMania, just like there are certain men that shouldn't main event WrestleMania.
Yep.
I love Roderick Strong. Keep him the fuck away from the main event at WrestleMania. You know. Tito Santana is a fucking legend. He rightfully never main evented a WrestleMania. And Sasha Banks, not saying that she can't be women's champion again, not saying that she can't have a good program, but I don't feel, at least as a hero, or heroine, I guess I should say, I don't feel her as a main event at WrestleMania level wrestler.
Yep. No one.
Now I want to say this: main event at WrestleMania worthy wrestler. That doesn't mean that she could potentially face Rousey in the main event of like a TLC or Extreme Rules or Backlash or even SummerSlam. Just WrestleMania. I went through the women that I think have the most potential for that, and there's a lot of people, not just women, but just wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing so many people, you know, just say, like, why ain't she in that spot with Ronda? It's because, granted, she's about 1,000 times the wrestler Ronda is, but it's just...
Hey, I mean,
you have right your own opinion. Ray, what's going on? It's you! I mean, you can tell me all about, you know, Hey Athletic Geek guy, the legit boss is the, you know, better than everybody, and you fucking suck. Let me know. But just, I guess it was just, it's...
Even if she is that good, let's look at the presentation. I mean, how would we know?
And even if she got presented better, I still don't think she's worthy of that. Here's an example.
She'd have to take it to another level and connect better with her character.
Same thing with Bayley, and I was all about Bayley in NXT.
Yeah, Bayley. Oh, Bayley's worse off than Sasha.
Yeah.
At this point.
The 2 4 horsewomen that have broke out the most are the ones that I'm going to have to say, total package-wise, may not necessarily wrestling-wise, but total package-wise, had the most going for them. You know, and have kept it going. You know, sometimes people don't. They stay good, but they don't stay like on the very, very top forever. You know,
although Becky was drowning practically.
Becky was
for
drowning
a
until
year
she
and a
got to
half,
change her
so,
character.
So
You know,
there's always hope, but at this point,
yeah,
there was no money to be made in Sasha versus Rousey WrestleMania.
right. And
I'm saying, devil's advocate, it could happen, but not this year.
not that. But I mean,
not this year.
the comparison, and that's a whole other debate on like, you know, and I'm sure I've done this to people too with my fandom of like Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan in the past.
Oh, I'm sure.
You
Whatever
know.
you're about to say, I'm sure you have.
You know,
You were
when
super
people
fan.
when people super fan, you get turned off by that. Right? Like there was back when I was posted on message boards frequently. There was a guy on the boards I posted on that was all about Chris Hero. It did not matter who the ROH champion was. It should be Chris Hero. Chris Hero's the best. Why is it Nigel? It should be Chris Hero. Why is Tyler Black the champion? It should be Chris Hero. Well, why are they signing Tyler Black? Because Chris Hero's there. You know, and he was just all hell, Chris Hero is carrying Claudio Castagnoli in a tag team, so he was all about all these people suck and are not as worthy as Chris Hero, and it got to the point, and this is coming from a guy who is a Chris Hero fan. You know, I was very, very excited about 4 years ago to finally get the opportunity to shake Chris Hero's hand because him and Nigel McGuinness are the only of my favorite, of all the Ring of Honor guys that got me, you know, in. They're the only guys that I never got to meet after a show. So it made me really happy to meet Chris Hero. Don't, you know, and I wish he was getting used better on NXT too, but that's another debate for another day.
Yes, I know, by the way, in case you don't know.
Yes. Yes. But as just to the point there, like, I just wanted to see, like, oh, Chris Hero's got a title match against, you know, Davey Richards. I hope he gets fuck beat out of him because fuck this guy. You know, I'm sure there were several people with the same name Daniel Bryan. Like, oh, Daniel Bryan wrestling this? Fuck Daniel Bryan. I hope the Miz beats him because fucking Geek needs to shut the fuck up. You know?
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
So, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty of it. But it's just, over the past couple of years, the Sasha fans have just made me go like, she's really not as good as you think she is. At least in terms of the whole presentation. I don't get her as a heroine. As a villainess, she'd be like, because like, that whole presentation to me is just unlikable.
So cocky and smarmy.
Cocky, smarmy. You know, I don't want to use any foul language here, but she's the kind of one you'd go to high school or college or, you know, work and have to deal with her and you'd go, what a B word.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she'd talk down to you and you'd go, what a B word. And
Right.
you'd be like, that's what we need from her. And with that, I could see her main eventing WrestleMania after a year of, you know, her being a snooty, snobby champion. But instead, and again, I emphasize, I take nothing away from her wrestling ability whatsoever. Hello, Eddington. I take nothing away from her wrestling ability whatsoever. She is one of the best female wrestlers I've ever seen. Her and Bayley's Iron Woman match from NXT is still one of my favorite NXT matches. And boy, was there a lot of them in the whole tenure of NXT. But when I see her as a heroine, I just can't help but think it's like, she reminds me of a child that, like, got, like, the Be a Diva playset, and she's, like, walking around going, like, I'm a boss now. You know.
My daughter and the princess thing.
Yeah. That. So, you know, I hope they turn her. She's almost like, dare I say, she's almost like a Roman Reigns to me.
Wow.
And I'm going to, before you come at me with pitchforks because of the things I've said about Roman Reigns' character, not the man. I feel like, not the man.
Sorry.
If they were to just make this slight tweak, So that's Sasha Banks.
We've spent
and
a long time talking about Sasha Banks.
Yes, we. So there we go. Little Sasha Banks tangent, because we're coming to this here, which leads to some talk, some rumor and innuendo. The Revival defeat Lucha House Party.
Oh,
Hallelujah. But the rumor and innuendo are saying that the Revival want their release from the WWE.
I would imagine so.
Yes. And you and I...
When you're that good at being a tag team.
They keep Sasha around. That's awful. No. No. That's...
I'm shame free.
That's... No. That's, why am I laughing? I don't even agree with the statement. What the fuck? It's just so ridiculous.
It's so wrong you can't not laugh at it.
What the fuck is your problem?
It's like the cartoon Cyanide and Happiness.
Vince won't let them sit out their contract. They're going to sit them out like that. Yeah, I think so too. But you and I both know where the fuck they're bolting to if when they're not with the WWE anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, that shit's been building for a long time with the Young Bucks and the Revival.
Yeah.
So
well, I'm only speaking of the Young Bucks in WWE, but that's a tangent we're probably not getting into. But
well, they ain't going to WWE now. There's no.
No, but I heard
Kenny.
all about that whole 12 hours of negotiation, all the things they offered him.
Yeah.
Like a 6-month opt-out clause or whatever. It's like they had it.
They had it made.
Yeah.
They're gonna say in 6 months I won't be here anymore.
He was throwing out all kinds of stuff I didn't even know they could offer. I was listening.
You know what then? If there's a 6-month opt-out clause, I say Kenny Omega signs with WWE,
right?
shows up at WrestleMania, and after 6 months goes, bye-bye Vince, I say goodbye.
It's written in the contract.
I got my AJ match at WrestleMania, you can go fuck yourself now.
Apparently that's what they were offering the Young Bucks, and they're like, nah, it's alright. But yeah, apparently they spent like 12 hours negotiating.
So
Which is crazy.
Vince McMahon setting up the match to determine who will challenge Brock Lesnar. It was an okay segment. I don't feel
John Cena.
I don't feel anything for any Vince McMahon segments anymore because for now
the life has been drained out of the poor man.
For 21 plus years, there's been nothing but Vince McMahon say. The last one that I thought was decent was the one he did with AJ, and that's because it was good character development for AJ.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, man has aged.
Make the Jacksons eat shadow machines. Put them in a shirt. Lords and Masters. Oh, okie dokie. Well, that's your opinion. Thank you for the comment. We appreciate you showing up and hanging out with us.
I have nothing insightful to add.
That is true, though. Daniel, you're the authority. We're going to listen to you. Now hold my beer while I put myself on TV more just to piss you off. Yep, that is exactly true. It wasn't a bad segment. It's just kind of like I'm over Vince McMahon segments. I've been dealing with the same kind of Vince McMahon segment for over 21 years of being a wrestling fan.
Well, I mean, Vince used to be entertaining, but, like, there's no life left in the poor guy.
He just wants to run his football league and be done.
Yeah. He said
which is good, because then we can have Triple H run the wrestling
thing. That's the thing.
And make it like NXT, and everybody wins!
That's the thing right there.
That's what I want!
We could, theoretically, we could have him out there doing that instead of Vince at this point, but whatever.
You know.
He's probably running NXT still.
Then we have Nikki Cross, Natalya, and Bayley versus the Riot Squad.
Nikki Cross!
Why the fuck is she on Raw?
Well, she's not. So, for whatever... She was on SmackDown, too.
I know, but so it's like...
They haven't decided where they're actually putting them yet, so they're just letting them show up on...
They haven't decided! Sanity's on SmackDown!
I know.
It's not that difficult.
She also didn't show up with Sanity on SmackDown. She was by herself.
Just, hey, we don't know about Nikki Cross. Well, she was best as part of Sanity, and Sanity's on SmackDown. Like, I don't understand why there's controversy with that segment. That kind of just
The argument could be made that that is the show that currently has Charlotte, Becky, and Asuka on it. And that kind of, I mean, she might get eclipsed over there. Speaking of eclipses, someone who hasn't had a story since they came up to the main round.
don't get me started on Ember Moon not having a story.
Or in anything, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I guess
Harold-
you could call
Har-
it a screen test, huh?
Yeah.
I guess you could call it that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
well, either way,
I was-
there doesn't need to be a screen test. Put her with fucking sanity. You know.
Riot Squad are officially jobbers now.
What's a jobber?
Yeah, right?
But still,
I hear you, but why now? What made you say now is official? They have
Was
been for a long time.
Barrick. Yeah,
When's the
I
last
just
time we
feel
saw
like
Riot
like
Squad
like
win
like the
anything?
Nikki's a package deal. So you put her with sanity, and you mentioned her getting. You know, before I went on my got sad for a minute because of no Ember Moon storylines. Put her on SmackDown.
Mhm.
It's just, you made me sad. You brought up again. I got sad again. Put her on SmackDown. Put her with sanity, and then just imagine, kind of similar to like, in a dark, twisted, reverse Four Horsemen kind of way. You use after WrestleMania, you know, possibly having her have the help of all sanity, going after
Mhm.
Becky
Yeah.
or Charlotte or Asuka or somebody like that.
I like that. Yeah.
Well, Eric's on your thing, you know, like it's right there. So that's why it's Eric now, and when we can't see your face or something, you know, then we know you by another name, but when your name's said, we just see Eric. Easy. Thanks for coming though. Car's gonna be Lex Luger in a little matter. Yeah, possibly. We'll find out about that.
I mean, it hasn't been done in a while.
We'll talk more about that on SmackDown, but I definitely think that would be a good character for him, but who's to say right now? So, but I thought this was a good match, nice 6-woman tag. I kind of would have liked the Riot Squad to win, just because, hey, they're an actual unit, and the other team
Right.
was
Or
not.
since it's like the first time Raw's seen Nikki wrestle, maybe Nikki could have got the pin at least instead of Bailey. Nitpicking maybe, but I don't know. Like, but I agree.
All
that's
the more
fine.
reason to put her on SmackDown with Rest of Sanity, and everybody wins. So next match, Finn Balor defeats Jinder Mahal. Thank God.
And he didn't get concussed this time.
And Finn Balor did the
Yeah,
best
that's
job
right.
he
I
could
remember.
carrying that guy to the good match. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Lashley versus Rollins versus Ambrose. I like this match a lot. I would say it'd be like WWE match of the week if it wasn't for something we'll talk about
Yeah.
later. But it's right underneath that one. It was a really, really good match, and very happy with the result. I was happy to see Lashley get the victory.
Yeah, it's a little weird for the Seth Dean story, but
Seth and Dean don't need a championship involved.
that's true. That's true.
Maybe this could lead to
They could splinter off, and he could.
Seth and Dean to kind of maybe like have some kind of holy shit blood
Right.
feud ending to their story, or as I would like to see, which I don't think it's going to happen, but as I'd like to see, put a bow on that so Seth could maybe challenge Lesnar at WrestleMania. So, yeah. And I hope she doesn't win, and that's for next week. But honestly, I hope she doesn't win. I hope she loses, and then hopefully she enters the Royal Rumble and main events WrestleMania against Ronda Rousey, because they're the only two women that could possibly do that and it not feel forced, my opinion. So I did not think about that, Daniel. They could do a Brett and Lex. You're ruining things for next week, people. That's the predictions episode.
It's live.
Yeah. So, well, Charlotte can back up her family's history. She's good. She's great. But back to what I was saying, that could be a possibility. You kind of Brett Lex Royal Rumble 1994 and then let them both go after Ronda in the main event. I'd prefer a one-on-one main event, but I wouldn't complain if they kind of shoehorn Charlotte in, even though I just want it to be the man's moment. Nikki can somehow find a way to challenge Asuka on SmackDown with the help of Sandy. I would not have a problem with that.
I like it.
Nikki's just not...
I like it.
When you have the chance...
Psychopaths out there.
Yeah. When you just have the chance for a not force-fed... These are actually the three best in the WWE right now, main event WrestleMania. You go with it. You fucking go with it. It's money on the table.
Yeah.
Fucking go with the fucking shit.
For once.
Yeah. But we'll talk more about Royal Rumble predictions on next week's episode. So
that's right, we have a structure here.
We have a structure!
Ish.
Sanity is here and fucking everything up! Your Nikki talk is screwing with our show!
Right, at least
but you're talking, so I appreciate that. But,
Bobby Lashley's never had the Intercontinental Championship.
No, he's only had 2 belts in the WWE, the US title and then the WWE CW title, which became an afterthought in the Donald Trump storyline. But I'm happy to see it. I feel like it's a good... Because he gets stereotyped, but Lashley can go in the ring. And I feel like he'd be a good Intercontinental Champion. Seth and Dean can splinter off and do their own thing. Seth can maybe possibly challenge Lesnar for the Universal title. I feel like he'd be a good challenger. I don't see that happening, but I feel like in my head he'd be a good challenger because he's kind of been the face of Raw with Lesnar away, so it'd be poetic justice for him to be able to take that belt away from Lesnar. Yeah. But I'll reveal my official prediction on next week's show, so I'll show for next week. Show for next week. You can't miss it next week.
Be there. Here.
Thursday. Possibly Friday, if we get caught up with real life issues. He's also got children and can throw shit for a tailspin.
Oh, man.
With a special encore performance by Mrs. Potato Nick. Shout out if you can understand that reference. That'd be cool, Daniel. I'd really be down for something like that. But you'll hear my official prediction next week. I could go into fantasy scenarios till the cows come home, but he's got kids.
Yeah.
And we gotta keep it under an hour and a half. So great match. Like I said, would have been WWE's match of the week, if not, in my opinion, if not for. Well, more on that later.
Yep.
We have a Moment of Bliss segment.
Let's talk about what we all care about from this. They've actually announced when they're going to do the women's tag titles.
Yes. So, now the...
Elimination Chamber.
Yeah?
And it looks like it's going to be a floating title because they're having...
It needs to be a floating title. Let's be honest. As deep as the women's division is, there's not enough to sustain good women's tag divisions on... essentially 3 brands. Now, if it's floating, hey,
exactly. I mean, Raw and SmackDown suck at keeping their actual 6, 7, 8 man tag team division.
No, Daniel, don't go that far. Talk about AEW as well. We'll get that when we're done recapping because we are the Just Two Marks Wrestling recap show. We did briefly touch on the revivals earlier. And whatnot. But we'll get to AEW in the show. Patience, young grasshopper. I didn't like the segment. I'm sorry. I mean, like, it's cool that we got some more information.
Well, that's why I said let's talk about what we all really care about from that
Yeah,
segment.
this thing was...
I'd rather just not talk about the rest of it because it just existed.
It was just...
And rather it just didn't exist.
Yeah, so we have another really good wrestling match on Raw, which I feel like I'm in Bizarro World by saying this, but Fatal 4-Way #1 Contenders match. Drew McIntyre, yay. Baron Corbin, boo. John Cena, I don't hate him. And good old Finny Boy. And good old Finny Boy wins. And
yeah,
I'm
excited.
I'm excited. I really hope that he. I really hope that he beats Lesnar for the.
Yes.
Well, that's where I'm going to disagree with you because I thought Raw was actually the better overall show this week, but more on that later. Yeah, the moment of bliss was my moment of piss break. This Hulu viewing. Actually, there was no piss break because I try to watch it all so I can talk about it on this here YouTube program. But yeah, no, we talked about the Revival and they won, but they're probably fixing to do that feud a few years in the making. And as Daniel pointed out, probably not going to release them. They're just going to kind of Neville them. But that Revival Young Bucks match will be put on hold until it happens. If they burn, that's a very interesting point, and I'm glad you kind of brought this up, Daniel. If they burn the demon on Lesnar, holy shit, that's going to be terrible. But on the flip side of things,
if anybody
from a storyline perspective, if there's ever a time for the demon to come out, it would be Brock Lesnar for the Universal fucking title.
And as much as I hate to say it, devil's advocate, if anybody's going to beat the demon, it's going to be the same guy that ended the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. I mean,
but it's something, and
don't get me wrong, I don't want it to happen.
And I even criticized this last year. Granted, he ended up losing at WrestleMania, so I'm kind of in retrospect happy. But I said, as awesome of an entrance as that was for him, and that entrance at last year's WrestleMania with the LGBT community meant a lot of things to a lot of people, and that's totally cool. I did kind of go from the storyline perspective. It's your first WrestleMania. Why ain't the demon out? Like, Demon WrestleMania.
Right.
I know it's just the Intercontinental title, but Demon WrestleMania.
From what I heard.
But I understand why now. That entrance and what he did meant more than what a demon would for a lot of people, and that's totally cool. And he wasn't going to win, so don't burn the demon in a triple threat match with The Miz and Rollins. But now it's just from the story. It's like, wouldn't you want to bring the demon out if you're facing Brock fucking Lesnar? So it's this weird catch-22. It's kind of like the only way for it all to work out. And yeah, I agree, Eric. The only way for it all to work out is like the only scenario I don't see this match going, which is Finn Balor beating Brock Lesnar. And that ain't fucking happening. Finn Balor beating Brock Lesnar has about as much of a chance of happening as my Irish did of beating Clemson in the Cotton Bowl. Not happening.
No, it would be interesting if he lost, and that was the tipping point he needed to realize he needed to embrace the demon, because nothing's been happening for him for so long. I don't know. That'd be interesting. I could get behind that if they did it right. But
yeah, there's a good story there. But that is it for Raw. I thought it was a really solid show this week. I thought that for the first time in a long time, I really think Raw, well, kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit.
We had Finn versus Seth like 3 years ago. 2.5 years ago.
I wouldn't mind that, but I'm kind of with Daniel. They kind of telegraphed it, and I feel like storyline-wise, it'd make more sense for Seth to go after Brock at WrestleMania. The guy who carried the Intercontinental title, led the Raw brand, storyline-wise, led for the change in the Raw brand versus the guy who's never there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good hero's moment for Seth to want to get that belt from Brock,
Mm-hmm.
and the guy who spearheaded the change for Raw finally has the actual symbol of him being the man on Raw, which is the Universal title. And then he leads that brand like no fucking other with the Universal title. And we finally have a Universal champion who's good. Not saying that Lesnar or that Balor wasn't good, he just wasn't around to do it. Owens was used terribly. I didn't mind Goldberg getting the thank you run, but, and I didn't mind Goldberg versus Lesnar. But whatever.
Redemption match.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 20.
He's never done as a hero there. He's never done as a hero though. Back then he was a smarmy, sneaky
that was also
villain
a triple threat.
And a triple threat where he pinned Roman Reigns. This time he's an all-conquering hero in a completely different role, and he can finally get a win over Brock Lesnar and spearhead real change. And if you want to go sappy, you could have, I'm not for using things like this to try and do that, but it would be a cool moment if Roman was there with him,
mm-hmm.
with everything Roman's going through. That would be cool. So, yeah, that's how I would like to see it. You'll find out what I really think next week. Now it's time to layeth the Smacketh down on some SmackDown recap.
To answer your question, Lesnar has never beat Rollins one-on-one, no.
No. Do that.
He has not actually pinned him. I think he pinned him once in a triple threat scenario with Cena.
That was a damn good match from the Royal Rumble 2015. Yeah. Before everybody turned on that pay-per-view, there was a damn good match before that. The Rumble got shit in oblivion for Daniel Bryan not winning.
But no, Lesnar has not actually pinned Rollins one-on-one. Unlike Strowman, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan. Who's who?
Yeah, but back when the Heist of the Century happens, he was committing the Heist of the Century. Now he's it's almost like a coming-of-age title or story. His first title win, we're not counting his little 30-second one that he had, when Ambrose cashed in on him. His first time he used trickery, deceit, and betrayed his former best friend in order to call himself world's champion in the main event at WrestleMania. Now he comes in as an all-conquering hero looking to finally bring that change that he wanted to spearhead on Raw by taking control back, taking the belt back to Raw. It's a great story. Probably not gonna happen.
We all remember what happened last year.
Yeah. So we go to SmackDown and
just started off good out the gate there.
Yeah. First of all, the man was on fire. Just kind of sticking it to people and, just kind of marching to the ring and just being just downright awesome. That's why the man's the best thing in WWE right now. And with no word on Kenny Omega's future, the whole best thing in wrestling right now, dare I say.
I want to know what she puts in her protein shakes.
It reminds me of that whole thing. It did kind of give me a flashback. I sat through this footage of the Lex Express from '93, and there's this scene of Lex on the bus and he's drinking his protein shake. And it just kind of had this flashback of that whole thing when Becky had the protein shake. But
Lex on the bus drinks it all down.
So we have kind of a
poor Iconics.
The Iconics once again. What is it about them? They just introduced women's tag titles, yet they're making female tag teams and units look like crap. That's a pet peeve I've had with the WWE for years is
Oh, you
established.
mean the top singles guys just
top
can't-
singles guys can just come together and beat a tag team guy and go up, and the same thing is
possibly
going
by
on.
themselves.
Yeah.
And they're doing the same thing.
I mean, there's a few times when it works, like when Austin and Michaels won the tag titles from Owen and Bulldog. It's kind of like, okay, it makes sense that, when if these two guys can get along, they're unstoppable.
right.
But they can't.
Yeah. Chris Jericho and oh, shoot, was it Jericho and Benoit or Angle and Benoit?
Angle and Benoit.
Angle and
Yeah.
Benoit. They're literally arguing, tapping people out while they were arguing, and finally they just argued so much that. Even though they
But
were
Rock and
so
Sock Connection eventually kind of came back together,
Yeah,
and they found,
yeah.
it's actually kind of, they kind of told this good story with, like, The Rock, Mick kind of helping, maybe not completely, but kind of, kind of brought The Rock from,
Which is ironic, because he's the one that pushed The Rock
right.
to the dark side, kind of, in the first
You know what the Rock and Sock Connection was? It was like the wrestling. It was before the Emperor's New Groove. It kind of reminds me of the Emperor's New Groove. You have this asshole, arrogant guy that gets humanized, by Mankind and Pacha's role. Just kind of brought him down, and we realized he didn't completely lose his swagger, but he realized the good within himself, and then became a good unit.
Now I just want to see a movie where Dwayne Johnson turns into a llama.
Hey, they're making live-action versions of all the.
That's true. That's true.
All
the Disney cartoons.
All the Disney cartoons. So, Dwayne Johnson for Cuscos.
There you go.
Hashtag it on Twitter, folks. But the entertainment is in the chat with Daniel and Eric this week. Woo! But I mean, you gotta make them both look good. Gotta make both the man and Asuka look good.
They succeeded on that front, that's for sure.
But I just kind of felt like, he couldn't have picked two other women, really. But still, it's okay. Yeah, we have
AJ Styles said, no, you can buy whatever you want.
Yeah.
Buy my merchandise.
I thought it would have been funny. The only thing I like the segment, eventually, there's a little brawl between AJ and Brian. He throws him through a concession table.
Yeah.
The only thing, and they could have made it like a vegan hot dog or something or something to kind of make it so it happened. But remember back in 2003, after a match between CM Punk and Raven in Ring of Honor, Raven and Dreamer, tied CM Punk up in the ropes, and then they got a beer, and they poured the beer in his mouth and forced him to drink a beer. So I thought that would have been a cool moment to redo that. He knocks him out, and then AJ Styles gets a hot dog and opens up Daniel Bryan's mouth and shoves the hot dog in his throat. Kind of symbolic of that. It's just kind of the big fuck you to Bryan. Nice little comeuppance for all the,
Especially since he's supposed to be the on fire, angry AJ Styles, Vince Awakened, whatever.
Yeah. I'm for a Street Fight Royal Rumble because they've had 3 regular singles matches, so now would call for a stipulation. Yeah. I'm just not a personal fan of stipulations right out the gate. Stipulations need to mean something.
Yeah.
But now, yes.
Yeah.
Hey now. But I thought that would have been a cool moment. Still, it was a decent little segment nonetheless, with finally AJ kind of getting the drop on Bryan since losing the title. Mustafa Ali and Samoa Joe have a fun little match.
Samoa Joe going back to his TNA roots at least. Oh, you're a little bit smaller than me. I'm going to murder you now.
Yeah. But I think Mustafa Ali is a great underdog character.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only going to... I don't know if he'll ever be world's champion. I think it'd be cool if he had a good performance in the Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
And then we could potentially go to... Down the road...
He could be U.S. champion either.
He could be U.S. champion.
He could be U.S. champion tomorrow, in my opinion.
Yeah. If not that, the build to this good underdog by SummerSlam, you know. That's the thing. I was talking with our friend Edmund, which he's not really part of the show, so we don't talk about a lot, but he's an actual wrestler that we used to go watch locally.
He's a certified badass.
Yeah. Great dude. I was talking to him. We're just kind of talking old school wrestling. He's a real old school kind of guy, and he said, I missed the build up. The build up. He said wrestling moves so fast now. There's no build up.
That's true.
He said he remembers watching the Rockers, having to wait, 2 years, to finally get the tag titles in the AWA, and just every time they'd come so close, and they just, and then they'd fall down, they'd work their way back up to her, and something would happen, and they'd have to work their way back up to another shot, and all the while, it's just you could feel it, and then when it finally happened, it was just whew, yes. And he says that's what we're kind of missing in wrestling, because it's just kind of...
Yeah, well, it's the social media age.
Yes, that's true. It's the social media age, and
attention spans.
this is something that this is a comparison that Bruce Pritchard made. He said, and this also kind of with Vince. Vince doesn't do an old school build up like that. He said, some people, and if there's any children watching, hide your ears for this analogy. Some people, when they have sex, they want to go a long time with a big build-up with some foreplay, and they get going, and they pull back, and they do a little more, and then they go back again, they go a little more, and then finally, whew,
those are the best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He said that's how a lot of people enjoy sex. Vince, and a lot of people in the social media age, and would just prefer to stick their dick in and come for 4 hours. Or 4 minutes. They don't want to build up to it. That's all right. I apologize for that one, but
I just want to know.
Isn't anybody really new because he doesn't have any interesting? He hasn't shaved. He's got a new attitude though, so I still think it makes sense. And he's gone from just being kind of hey, whatever, you do you with his vegan views, and now he's become the militant PETA vegan.
His look suits,
especially the militant PETA, militant PETA vegan.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like the guy in the episode Parks and Recreation where Ron Swanson goes to the Whole Foods, and he's like, I'm just here to watch the wildlife. He looks like one of those guys that Ron Swanson would watch. Now we come to the match of the week from the WWE. Now, granted, I haven't seen NXT yet. I'm getting ready to watch that, so we're not going to have an NXT report tonight.
This is the match of the week. I haven't seen it either, but I've had a review on it. I'm pretty sure this is...
But Andrade defeats Rey Mysterio because much like some others, like Neville and Apollo Crews, going to Apollo and Adrian Neville becoming Neville. There's no more Andrade Cien Almas. It's just Andrade.
That's right.
But he has an amazing match with Rey Mysterio and beats Rey Mysterio.
This is what Selena Vega is for.
Mm-hmm. Now, something else to consider, and I don't think this will happen either, but Rey Mysterio winning the Rumble would be cool because we could get potentially a Rey Mysterio versus Daniel Bryan or AJ Styles match at WrestleMania, which I'm totally down for.
Yeah.
And there's that. We go from watch that match because it's amazing. I know the year is young, but when we have I could be revisiting that match, at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. I know we're only a few weeks into it, and that's big time, but you could hear me talk about that at the end of the year when we're talking about our...
Last year, Andrade had a match in
January
and we were talking about it at the end of the year, so, I mean...
Yeah, that's your opinion. I think Daniel Bryan's doing a good job because I'm probably one of the biggest Daniel Bryan fans you'll ever see. And even I want to see him get his ass whipped at the Royal Rumble. So if you can make me want to see Daniel Bryan lose, then you're doing a damn good job with your character. That's just my take on everything. You know,
Yeah.
You're looking at somebody who passionately almost like had a tantrum when he lost in 18 seconds because that's how big of a Daniel Bryan fan I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if he lost, I don't want him to lose. I want him to have a good match because I like good matches. But if AJ Styles, just phenomenal forearmed him and beat him, I'd go, fucking A, man! That's a good comeuppance for a villain right there.
Right.
That's how good of a job I feel Daniel Bryan's doing with his new villainous persona. So you go from a great match, something that maybe, one of the best matches of the year, I don't know, we haven't had WrestleMania or a lot of New Japan yet, so it's still, but still. And then we have one of the worst segments I've seen in quite some time.
I mean, at least
It made
it's a
no
story.
fucking sense. I'm gonna lure you to my hotel room so I can get a paparazzi to take a picture of you, despite the fact that there's a camera crew in the fucking hotel that...
It's filming a real story. Oh.
And then,
the real
got
Naomi.
chicken! Fucking Naomi's there! Joke's on you, motherfucker!
Somehow.
Oh god, this thing was so crap!
It was overwritten.
Was it overwritten, or was it just not even written? Somebody just kind of said, we need to have this and this and this, and that'll be fucking good. It's just fucking...
Somebody wrote a script for him. Yeah,
This is
it
probably the
was
worst-
both over and underwritten.
This whole thing is up there with... It's up there with those. I hate to say it. I mean...
I would agree with the plug for Temptation Island, but it wasn't blatant enough to be a plug for Temptation Island.
Bet you Brian, Jeff, Cena, and John Boynton. I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. Cena, I believe... I think he got like a win on Raw, but I have seen, in the midst of...
Oh, in the last couple
The
of
Yes
years.
Movement's Daniel Bryan. I don't believe that Cena's ever beat Bryan. I think, they had their match at SummerSlam 2013, and then they just kind of never really crossed paths again because of just various injuries. So,
I think you're right, yeah.
while I don't want to see that personally, I could see Cena and Bryan having a match at WrestleMania, and you know what? I'm not going to say that John Cena is the, is one of the best in-ring workers of all time, but the right people, John Cena can fucking go. And John Cena and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, I'm down.
I kind of agree with that. Instead of Jimmy, they should have had Jay go there.
Yeah.
Some of that twin.
Or use a
Trickery.
security cam, so that way it wouldn't be like, oh hey, Naomi's going to find out if she watches fucking SmackDown. I understand. I understand that there are certain things
You do know
within the wacky world of wrestling where you gotta shut your brain off. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But at least act like you make an effort.
Yeah.
To make things make sense.
Yeah.
Try to be logical, and we can turn, and it makes me a little bit easier for me to shut my brain off.
Forget Temptation Island plug. This was probably an angle for Total Divas. I think
Yep.
they're all characters on that show. I know
Yeah.
Jimmy and Naomi are. I've never watched it, but I know they're characters on the show. So
I would watch Total
I
Divas.
almost bet you.
I would watch Total Divas just because my mom liked it when I still living at home.
Mm-hmm.
My mom would just like reality TV, and she would just watch it, and she'd watch and be like, oh yeah, you're Daniel Bryan. He just seems like a real nice fella, and just kind of always thought it was cool that she just,
Right.
oh, I heard what happened to Tyson, Tyson Kidd. That's a real shame, and yeah, you're right, Daniel. You are absolutely right. And, it's just not a good segment at all. It's kind of everybody gets one, but it was one too many.
Right.
Because they go to another bad segment.
Oh.
They go to The Miz and his best friend forever, Shane O'Mac, the best in the world besties right there.
Match I'm most looking forward to Sunday. Next
Mm-hmm.
Sunday.
And they're making the Miz a hero, and here's the thing, the Miz is a terrible hero.
Yeah.
Because the last
They
time they did
tried
it, it failed. If this all end, I mean, like, I'm sure it'll end up being where he's just using Shane for power. But still, if they roll with this, that's fucking dumb. Also, the Miz was the best villain in the WWE in the last 10 years, maybe longer.
Yeah, but they're-
In the sense that I hated the Miz. But I hated him for doing his job. I didn't want to turn it wasn't like Jinder Mahal or, God bless him, Roman Reigns, where I'm like, okay, that's enough of that now.
Jinder just sucks.
Yeah,
All
sucks
the-
all around. Mm,
all the air right out of the room. It's just, I've tried so hard.
Yeah.
It's
But
not there.
but when the Miz on there, it's like, hey, I just want to see him lose because he annoys me and he doesn't wrestle in a style that I enjoy. So
Yeah, but he's
But that's
solid
good.
and entertaining.
yeah, but that's
like,
why
mhm.
it's it's the wrong. They're getting the right kind of
He
dislike for me.
understands his role and he's doing it great.
Yeah.
Masterfully, even I dare say.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, that was an entertaining segment. I like the continuity on BTE this week with that. That was pretty funny. But they also on BTE said that the WWE can bring back the dead, so he's not dead anymore. So they didn't kill Britt Baker's boyfriend. So, yeah, it's just a stupid segment with Shane hitting the coast to coast, not through a chair or a trash can, mind you, but a fucking birthday cake. Miz beat Sheamus, and this was crap. And it's the first time in a long time I'm going to say this. Better show from Raw this week. SmackDown had the better match,
Mm-hmm.
but overall, Raw was a better show. You know, other than the moment, of bliss
Yeah,
and the kind of the big fucking tag match with Tamina and Nia and stuff. Raw was just an overall really solid and polished show this week and had two really, really good matches.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which, by Raw standards, is pretty good.
which by Raw standards is two more matches than they're used to having. Now, granted, neither one of those matches was as good as Rey Mysterio and Andrade, but still,
I
hey,
mean-
you know.
They done ruined it.
There's no.
They've done ruined Brian and Miz.
Yeah, like that. That would to me feel force fed.
Yeah.
It'd be force fed because you're force feeding heroic Miz.
And
Yeah,
Heroic Miz is still like coming across to me as like a pathetic nerdy trying to impress the cool kid. Like he's not really getting. For me, he's not connecting as a good guy.
No,
It's kind of like.
I would be
It's kind
that.
of like in
I would be
Japan where Tama Tonga's like, we're good guys now.
Yes.
But-
I feel like if they did that, I would go from kind of this whole boo Daniel Bryan because he's going to be in a villain too. I'm got my smart Mark cap back on, and I'm just gonna go Daniel Bryan because I like you.
Right.
I mean, not saying it can't work. I just feel like there's routes they could go where it would be better, and I just don't see Miz as a main eventer. I mean, I'm saying he can be he can be like a fullback. He can carry the ball for a little while, but he's not the guy that you base the offense around. I feel like there's so
I
many.
would have to see it before I believed it would work.
Right. Is he gonna make you dinner, or is he gonna? He did main event WrestleMania. He main evented one of the worst WrestleManias. I'm sorry, that's just the case.
Yeah.
He main evented WrestleMania where people half-assed forgot he was he was a non-factor in
You're
the main
forgiven
event.
and forgetting that he was in the main event because.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't. I don't see him as a main event. I don't see him as a main eventer. Honestly, like as far as who I would like to see at WrestleMania with it. This is assuming we're gonna assume. Maybe a slight spoiler for next week, but my mind can change. Assuming that Bryan retains the title against AJ,
think so.
you know.
Yeah.
There's 32 and there's 27. Both were kind of like the biggest crapola main WrestleMania since, the pre-Attitude Era.
We won't even get into last year, though.
Last year was like just kind of could have been
weird.
Weird, peculiar. It's a good word for last year. But back to what I was saying. Assuming Daniel Bryan keeps the WWE title, you've mentioned to me in private. Eric's mentioned, emailed me or whatever about Jeff Hardy. I'd be okay with Jeff Hardy and Bryan because they've had one match that was really good, and you could tell a good story with something like, here's another free spirit who kind of goes against the grain, but he's not being an asshole about it.
Yeah.
You could kind of have like that conflict of, hey man, I'm not trying to make fun of Jeff, but it's just so fun sometimes to do a Jeff Hardy joint. Hey man, why you gotta talk to people like that? It's okay to be different, but you ain't gotta be rude about it. And that could be the basis for a good WrestleMania match, and you can kind of take off from there.
Did we ever resolve anything with Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy?
No, but whatever. Something tells me they're all gonna be in an 8-man ladder match for the United States title come WrestleMania. The Mustafa Ali, because they're gonna have the big multi-man match, car crash. Joe and Mustafa Ali and Shinsuke and Rusev and throw about and Jeff and throw 3 more guys in there and go, hey, you got it.
Well, it's better than the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah, but I don't mind that. Actually making the pre-show Battle Royal actually half-ass pretend to mean something, whatever. But that could be a good role for. There's so many other people they've already dropped the ball on the Miz Bryan feud. There's so many other people that Bryan has yet to work with that could have an amazing WrestleMania match. Rey Mysterio, have a great match for Mysterio.
I can't see Joe versus Miz working either without Miz being the villain, though.
Yeah, that just feels like.
Where you're
Miz is not
murder the Miz.
Joe will be written as a villain, yet everybody with half a brain will probably want to see Joe murder the Miz.
Yeah. You'd have to work really hard to make.
That's kind of. What I'm afraid they're just going to do is eventually you're going to find out that Miz being buddy-buddy with Shane was all just a hoax. And he...
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to be friends with Shane. Ha 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 ha. And then you get the perennial Shane match at WrestleMania. Because that's become... along with the multi-man car crash for a mid-card title.
Yeah.
That's like the new thing. We need a Shane McMahon match at WrestleMania now.
That's right.
So
also at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
He's always in the multi-man elimination match.
Yeah. But if we do get Miz versus Shane at WrestleMania, now granted, AJ and Shane was a damn fine match. At WrestleMania 33. But if we get Miz versus Shane at WrestleMania, that will be when I'm going, time to get a beer. Or hopefully, my bladder's full, time to relieve it.
Very much, hopefully not the opening match.
Please don't. Don't make that the opening match.
We're going to start hot out the gate.
Hot out the gate with some Shane O'Mac and Miz. Woo! That's not even a woo. I'm gonna have to quote Kalisto if that's what they, God damn it! Woo!
Lucha stuff.
Yeah. My other idea for a good WrestleMania match for Daniel Bryan, I doubt it happens now because Michaels has said he's not going to wrestle again, but, whatever. It would be Michaels and Bryan because he could call Michaels out for coming back, breaking his retirement for a payday, and say that my trainer is the most fickle of them all.
Right.
And then it leads to him goading him out for one more good match.
Yeah.
And, one more good match where he loses to his protege. That could happen, but I don't see that happening. I see that one of the best retirements and longest sustained retirements in all of wrestling gets broken for Saudi blood money.
Never happened.
I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like the Rockers, WWF Tag Team title went over the Hart Foundation. Never happened.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a dream match. There's no way. They're both doing too good a jobs as villains, and villain versus villain matches are too hard to pull off for that one.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed, but I think they added him versus Rusev at the Royal Rumble.
Well,
for the U.S. title.
We'll get to that next week.
I know.
It's all that jazz next week. And yeah, that's No, you know what I would like to see happen if they had another WrestleMania in Montreal? I'd want to see. I would want to see. It looks like Kevin Owens is going to win it, but we have Jack Swagger come back and put him in the ankle lock, and then Vince McMahon Triple H is at ringside and says ring the fucking bell and gives Jack Swagger the title. That's what I want to see.
All the people you picked, Jack Swagger.
He's American. All American.
The all American. Man, he should have a real American theme song though.
Okay, he should come out to that as well. I don't have anything against Canadians. I just know they're very sensitive about their heroes being made to look foolish and doing some troll-la-la-la-las.
Right. Jack Swagger, would he fight for the rest of every man?
I fight for Russia. I'm gonna be Sami Zayn in Montreal for the Universal title. Boomer Sooner.
You want to talk about throwbacks? The other day I was talking to somebody and Carlito and Chris Masters came up with the conversation.
Hey, Carlito was on an Edge and Christian show, so it was pretty funny. That's a belt. I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's a belt, I mean, the same thing happened in New Japan with a New Zealander and a Canadian fighting over the pride of the IWGP United States title. They've had two Japanese individuals fighting to become the Rev Pro British heavyweight champion. So it's a name for the sake of a name. So as long as the match is good, I'm all for it. Jay White is money, but I don't want him to beat Tanahashi just yet because I really want to see Tana and Okada at MSG.
It's way too soon.
Yeah. It's way too soon, but that's kind of how they Okada won the IWGP title in his second match, but it was all part of it. We'll watch those videos another day, but I really hope the IWGP title match at MSG really brings it with the with the Elite nowhere in sight. But yeah, this is a good episode. It's a fun episode.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think I'm gonna give. Oh, I would hate that. I mean, Jay White needs to have that. I say Jay White maybe wins the G1, but it would be life-changing to see Okada and Tanahashi. And part of this is coming from a selfish point of view that I'm going to be there. It'd be life-changing to see Okada and Tanahashi in person. So, I mean, it just... But, you know, anything can happen. I'm definitely going to be watching the new beginning to see who... The G1's in the summer, Eric. It's called G1 at MSG, but the G1 is their tournament in the summertime, and the winner gets a shot at Wrestle Kingdom. So he might already be the champion at the G1 special. So who knows? But if there's anything else the chat would like to add, I'll give you a couple minutes, because I think this might be time to put a bow on a very, very lively and interesting episode of the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show.
Yeah, because you didn't watch NXT, and
I haven't watched NXT yet. And
I watched a review show on it, but the only thing that popped out to me was it was a pretty good segment between Belair and Baszler.
Yeah. Yeah, that is... that's pretty much it for us this week then.
So next week,
tune in. Phoenix. Because we got NXT TakeOver Phoenix, and tune in because we're doing our prediction show, and we'll
Royal Rumble.
It is now time for the Royal Rumble. But that is it for us this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there, we'll have fun. It's the most fun pay-per-view I've ever been to. I went in 2012, and while it wasn't a great Rumble in the grand scheme of things, it was still a fucking amazing event to be at. If you haven't watched this live and you want to let your voice be heard, let us know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe for more content, not just from the world of pro wrestling, but from the world of comics, gaming, and all things geek culture. Go like the Facebook page, facebook.com/athleticgeek89, and follow me on Twitter @athletic_geek89. John, I don't have social media because he's got kids and he ain't got time for that shit.
Right. I'll see you next week.
But we'll see you next week with our prediction show. Be sure to tune in. But for Jason Kruger, I'm Athletic Geek. We are Just Two Marks. We're out. Have a good one.